everything is about to flip. And when it finally does, you're going to realize exactly why it took so long. I've already made the move. What you've been waiting for isn't being held back. It's in transit. Before this message ends, you'll know the name of what's arriving. The signs that have already surfaced right under your nose and exactly what to do so you don't accidentally block the delivery. Stay with me until the end, because before we're done, you're going to receive the protocol to prep your life for the moment your breakthrough hits the dock. I know you've tried to explain what you're feeling to someone, but when the words came out, they felt too small. So you stopped trying. You learned to carry it in the dark. You know what it's like to open your banking app in the bathroom at 2 a.m., door locked, while the rest of the house is fast asleep. Not because you want to, but because you need a moment without witnesses. The numbers pop up on the screen and you do the math in your head for the 4th time, as if the answer is somehow going to change. It doesn't. You swipe, you refresh, you look again, hoping a stray digit appeared while you weren't looking. It didn't. So you close the app, slide the phone into your pocket, take a deep breath, and walk back into the bedroom wearing the face the world expects from you. No one will know. You'll make it work somehow, you always do. And before you drift off, you take inventory, not out loud. In your head, in the pitch black, with the ceiling as your only witness. The list of what hasn't arrived yet. The bills that don't quite balance. The opportunity that slipped through your fingers because you didn't have the capital to grab it. The promise you made to yourself months ago that's starting to look more naive with every passing week. The project sitting in the drawer, not for lack of talent, but for lack of what's needed to pull the trigger. You revisit that list every night as if obsessing over it will solve it. It never shrinks as fast as it grows. Then you see someone else move forward. It's not envy that hurts, it's the confusion. Someone who started at the same line as you, or maybe even miles behind. And you wonder, in the silence, what they did differently, what they know that you don't, what door they found that you can't even see. It's not a bitter question. It's the question of someone who wants to understand the rules of the game so they can play better. But it eats at you because there's no visible answer.
You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part? You start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual, with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video.
No visible answer, and the silence starts to feel like an answer itself, a whisper telling you that maybe it's just not for you. Every now and then, someone asks how you're doing. You say, "I'm good," with the exact tone you've practiced to make it sound like the truth. The text was sent, with a hand that shook just a little, because you're good in the only way that matters in front of others. But inside, the pressure has a name, a weight, and a scheduled time to show up. You carry that with a dignity almost no one sees. Almost. If you're here, you aren't weak. You're still standing after a long time of carrying the load alone. That has a name, and that name isn't defeat. The like button here is your public amen. Heaven records what you confess in the light. If this word found you where you are, that like is the signal that you're ready for what's next. Now I need to tell you 3 things that will change how you look at the season you just survived. First, the scarcity you felt is not evidence that you've been abandoned. It's the silence before a decree is executed. There are moments when heaven is so busy arranging the provision that the quiet feels like neglect. It isn't. It's divine concentration on a work you can't see from your current zip code. The decree has been signed. The execution is already underway. The silence isn't an empty void. It's cruise control in the middle of the ocean, far from any visible coastline. Second, before this ends, you're getting a protocol. It has a name, and it will reveal exactly how to position yourself to receive without losing what's already been released. It's not a formula. It's not magic. It's positioning. It's the difference between a clean, organized port and a chaotic one when the cargo ship pulls in. That difference determines if the delivery happens or if the ship passes you by for another destination. Third, at the end, you'll be able to declare out loud, not as a hope but as a finished fact. I am ready. What is mine is already coming. I put you here because this word is for you. The days you kept believing without seeing a shred of evidence were seen and counted. That season of silence is over. Close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you doesn't work if your attention is divided. There are signs that a wealth transfer is in transit with your name on the manifesto, not signs the world recognizes. Signs the spirit registers before the physical world adjusts. Heaven always works from the inside out. What hits the spirit first hits the bank account, the paperwork, and the physical world later. There are specific signs that this movement is happening. I'm going to name each one, and as I do, you're going to recognize them because they've already shown up. The first sign, dreams involving numbers, documents, or addresses you don't recognize. You wake up and can't fit the dream into anything in your current life. A building you've never entered, a document with numbers that have no context, a dollar amount appearing in a scene without explanation, a signature, a contract, a location that feels vital but you can't put a name to it. You used to call those weird dreams and forget them before your first cup of coffee, or you tried to interpret them and gave up because they didn't fit anything concrete. What it really was, your spirit processing transfers that haven't hit the physical world yet. Heaven doesn't work in a linear sequence. What's registered in the spirit first is what manifests in the physical later. You weren't just dreaming. You were seeing what was already in transit. The second sign, a sudden, unexplained discomfort with your current level. Nothing has changed for the worse. The balance is the same. The situation is the same. But something inside you has become too big for the space you're in. A feeling that your current life is too tight, not because of a new problem, but because something grew inside you without you noticing. You called that being ungrateful, or restlessness, or never being satisfied. You felt guilty for not being able to just be content. What it really was, synchronization. When the container is being expanded from the inside, the current space feels cramped before it breaks open. That discomfort isn't a complaint. It's preparation. Your spirit is calibrating for the next level, not complaining about the current one. The third sign, names or people popping into your head for no apparent reason. Someone you haven't thought about in years suddenly appears. A contact sitting in your phone for months starts to pull at your attention. A memory of an old conversation with someone you barely knew surfaces in the middle of the day. You called that a coincidence or random nostalgia. Sometimes you brushed it off before paying attention. What it really was, heaven connecting the links in the supply chain. Transfers don't happen in a vacuum. They happen through people. And before the delivery, the spirit begins to align the connections that will serve as the channel for what's in transit. When a name pops up for no reason in the coming days, pay attention. It might be a link in the chain. The fourth sign, an impulse to organize what's in disorder. That junk drawer of paperwork you always say you'll get to. The bill you know needs attention, but you've been putting off week after week. The digital pile of files on your desktop. The administrative decision you left hanging because you didn't have the energy to deal with it. Suddenly you feel the urge to fix it. Not because someone asked, not because there's a deadline. You called it a productive day or finally getting motivated. What it really was, internal preparation to receive without wasting. When something big is coming, the spirit organizes the container before the delivery. Order isn't the result of abundance, it's the prerequisite for it. The next sign is the hardest to hear. It's the one the enemy has spent the most time trying to make you interpret as weakness, as settling, as a lack of spiritual ambition. The fifth sign, unexpected peace in the middle of financial pressure, with no visible resolution. The numbers are still the same, the bill is still there, the problem hasn't been solved. Nothing has changed in the physical world. But at some point, sometimes for hours, sometimes for days, a quietness that defies logic covered you. As if something inside finally settled, as if the urgency lost its volume without you deciding to turn it down. You called that resignation, or denial, or finally stopping caring. And the enemy used that to convince you that people of real faith don't rest until the problem is fixed, that peace was a sign you gave up the fight. What it really was. The decree was signed. And your spirit already knows, peace that has no root in the physical world only has one possible source, confirmation from above of what the physical world hasn't registered yet. It's not weakness, it's knowing before you see. If you recognized any of these signs, type free in the comments. This video reached you for a reason. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. This doesn't work if you're distracted. You know the story of Joseph, but maybe you never paid attention to the detail that changes everything for you today. Joseph didn't go from prisoner to second in command of Egypt because he woke up one day with enough faith to climb the ladder. It wasn't because he was a model prisoner. It wasn't because he found the right exit. It was because the resources of an entire nation were positioned to respond to the gift heaven had placed in him. Pharaoh had dreams no one could interpret, and the only human being with the key to that dream was in a cell, not for final punishment, for strategic positioning. That cell wasn't the end of Joseph's road, it was the waiting room before Pharaoh needed him. Think about that. The most powerful ruler in the known world needed a prisoner. The demand didn't come from the bottom up, it came from the top down. Pharaoh wasn't looking for a slave to promote. He was desperate for an answer that only existed in one place. And that place was exactly where Joseph was sitting. What Joseph's story reveals is that it's not just that faith gets you out of the cell, it's that when heaven moves resources toward you, the systems of the world actually start to need you. You're in the cell. But the dream has already been interpreted, and someone with the authority to open the door is being moved toward your location right now. Now, imagine a cargo ship that already left the port of origin with your name on the manifest. The recipient can't see the ship. There's no way to see it because it's in the middle of the Atlantic. But it is in transit. The delivery date was set before it even loaded. The manifest was signed before the ship left the dock. The destination is in the system. The cargo is sealed and tagged, and the recipient can do absolutely nothing to speed up the crossing. From scarcity to provision, from confusion to clarity, from waiting to delivery, from nighttime inventories to a port ready to receive. What the recipient can do is prep the dock, make sure the pier is clear, the unloading instructions are ready, and no one is blocking the entrance when the ship arrives. Because a ship arriving at a chaotic port doesn't dock easily. It waits, it maneuvers. In extreme cases, it diverts to another destination and tries again in a different window. Just like Joseph couldn't rush Pharaoh, and just like the recipient can't hurry the ship, you don't activate the transfer with more effort or more panic. The movement was started by heaven, but you prepare the reception with positioning. The question isn't if the ship is coming. The question is if your port will be ready when it docks. Type ready in the comments right now. Are you on the pier waiting or still cleaning up the mess? Let me stop for a full minute and name what's happened so far. You came to this message carrying a real pain of scarcity. It wasn't minimized, it wasn't turned into a moral lesson. It was named. The bank app in the bathroom, the inventory in the dark, the I'm good that came from a shaking hand. Every scene was seen. None was swept under a rug of positive vibes. The signs revealed that movement was happening while it felt like silence. The dreams, the growing pains, the names from nowhere, the urge to clean, the weird peace. Heaven wasn't static while you waited. It was working in layers the physical world couldn't see yet. The story showed that the delay isn't a failure of faith. It's transit. Joseph in the cell wasn't God's abandonment. It was strategic placement. The ship on the ocean isn't heaven being late. It's a necessary crossing with its own schedule. Now comes the most important part of this message. Not the protocol, not the final declaration. The moment you need to know who you are for this transfer to be possible. What you're about to hear isn't a human title. It's what I call you when I talk to heaven about you. Sit back. This isn't information, it's revelation. You are a bearer of the decree. That isn't an aspiration. It's not a goal you're chasing. It's a finished fact, registered before you even knew you needed a name for what you already are. I saw every time you honored a commitment without having the resources to do it. I saw the bill paid on time, while inside you didn't know how the next one would clear. I saw the promise kept even when it cost you something you didn't have to spare. I saw the responsibility you carried with no audience and no applause, in the silence of someone who knows they are the only person making sure things work. I saw you make decisions with the little as if you were managing much. Every time you did that, I recorded it. Not as merit points to collect, but as proven managerial capacity. Heaven doesn't transfer large-scale resources to containers without proven governance at a small scale. You proved governance when no one was looking and when there was nothing to gain. What this identity authorizes: stop asking for permission to occupy the space heaven has already signed in your name. You don't need human approval to be where the decree has already placed you. The decree doesn't depend on your environment's validation. It needs a bearer who knows they are carrying authority. You are a cycle breaker. The chain of scarcity that ran through your bloodline reached you only to end. Not to continue into a new chapter, not to be passed down in a different outfit, to end here, in this generation, with you. I saw the story before you existed. I saw what was inherited without choice and carried without merit. I saw the patterns that showed up in your life, not because you chose them, but because they came bundled in something you received before you were old enough to say no. And I chose to put in you what was necessary to break that chain. Right here. You aren't just another link. You are the generation that cuts what this identity authorizes, receiving without guilt, prospering without apologizing for it, moving to a new level without the feeling that you're betraying those you left behind. You aren't abandoning your roots when you outgrow them. You're breaking the ceiling your ancestors couldn't crack alone. That isn't betrayal, that's fulfillment. You are a channel of restitution. This is what changes the size of what's coming, and why it's bigger than what scarcity trained you to imagine. I saw that you aren't the final destination of this transfer. You are the distribution hub for what I want to do in your family, for the people connected to your name, and for the mission you haven't even fully seen yet. What's coming isn't proportional to your personal needs. It's proportional to what I plan to distribute through you. And that volume is bigger than scarcity ever taught you to ask for. What this identity authorizes: expanding the container before it arrives. Not waiting for abundance to start thinking about abundance. Scarcity trains you for survival. But you were designed for flow. You can't handle flow with a container calibrated for survival. Expanding the container is the work of right now. Type the name of the identity you just received in the comments. Bearer of the decree, cycle breaker, channel of restitution. Write the name and subscribe. What you receive today needs a place to grow. Close your eyes, deep breath. This doesn't work with a divided mind. What was revealed here isn't just for understanding. Understanding without positioning is just knowledge that doesn't move. And what's in transit needs a prepared port. There is a protocol for this. It's called the Clean Port Protocol. It's not an emergency prayer. It's not a generic confession you repeat while waiting for a sign. It's a set of 3 concrete moves that prepare you for what's in transit. You do all 3 today. Step 1. Name what you are waiting for out loud. Not in your head. Out loud. With real words spoken to the air in the room. I am waiting for the resolution of this specific debt. I am waiting for the capital for this stalled opportunity. I am waiting for this closed door to swing open. Taking it from internal anxiety to external declaration is the move of someone prepping the arrival, not someone complaining about the wait. It's the port captain telling the system what's expected. The system registers what is declared. What stays in your head stays in anxiety. What is spoken enters into positioning. Do it today with your real voice. Step 2. Identify and remove one blockage. There is something taking up space where the resource is supposed to land. It might be an emotional debt to someone who took what was yours and you're still carrying that weight inside. It might be an unreleased grudge eating up the mental space where your creativity needs to live. It might be a mental agreement you inherited that says abundance isn't for people like you. You don't have to solve every block today. You just need to identify the biggest one and make a move to release it. One block removed, opens the pier. The ship doesn't need a perfect port. It just needs the right space available at the moment it arrives. Step 3. Act like you've already received in one small area today, not faking that the money is there, not pretending the account is balanced when it isn't, not spending what you don't have, positioning with what you do have, organize a file you've been putting off, update a document, make a decision you've been stalling on that can be started with what you have right now. An act of governance over what is already present with the mindset of someone who will govern what is coming. The one who manages the little things well is the one who receives the big things later. The confirmation signal when these 3 steps are done isn't euphoria. It's not a feeling that finally I did something. It's quietness, that same unexplained peace we named earlier. If it comes, you'll recognize it, because it's been here before. And now you know its name. Type received in the comments. The port is being prepped. Now I have to warn you about what comes next. In the next 72 hours, 3 things will be launched against what you just received. Not as a possibility, but as a certainty. The first tactic, false urgency. It will come as an internal or external pressure that you have to act now, or you'll miss the window. A decision that has to be made immediately. An investment that only exists today. It will sound spiritual. It will sound like a prophetic window. But listen, heaven doesn't speak the language of anxious urgency. Peace and fear-based urgency cannot coexist. When that voice says you'll lose out if you don't jump now, ask, is this peace with direction or fear dressed up as an opportunity? The second tactic, timeline comparison. You'll hear news that someone else received and you haven't. It'll be in your feed, in a conversation, an update on someone who started at the same point but arrived first. The enemy uses this to install a specific doubt. If the transfer was real, wouldn't it be here already? What do they have that I lack? The timeline for every delivery was set by heaven with variables you can't see. A load shipped today has a different arrival date than one shipped yesterday. Someone else's ship docking first isn't evidence that yours is late. It's evidence they shipped at a different time. Every decree has its own execution date. The third tactic, inverted worthiness. This is the most devastating. It doesn't come from outside, it comes from within, as a memory. The mistake you made that still has weight. The unwise decision you can't leave behind. The season you walked away from what was right. The voice will use it with surgical precision. With your history, do you really think the decree has your name on it? What this tactic ignores is that the transfer wasn't sealed by your perfect record. It was sealed by decree. And heaven's decrees aren't revised by human history. Joseph had flaws before the cell. The cell wasn't a punishment for lack of perfection. It was positioning for a specific hour. The decree over you depends on what heaven saw and sealed before you even knew you needed it. And after those 3 external tactics, there's the internal enemy, the most dangerous because it uses your own voice and your own logic. It sounds like spiritual maturity. It says, wait a little longer. It's not time yet. You haven't done enough. When you're really ready, you'll know. That voice isn't entirely wrong, but it uses the right language to keep you passive. The difference between waiting in faith and stalling in fear is step 3 of the protocol. The one who waits in faith does step 3 today. The one who stalls in fear does nothing and calls it prudence. Type protected in the comments. The decree is sealed and the warning is received. Now before we finish, I need you to do something simple and specific. Place your hand open, palm up in your lap or in front of you. Not clenched, not crossed. Open, palm facing the sky. The posture of someone receiving, not someone begging. Beggars clasp their hands or reach out. Receivers open their palms. Stay like that for a moment. With your hand open, surrender these 3 things. Surrender the shame of the days the math didn't add up, and you sent "I'm good" with a shaking hand. That wasn't weakness. That was the weight of someone carrying more than was fair for longer than anyone should. You carried it, and you stayed on your feet. That isn't shame. But the shame that got stuck to that experience, give that up now. Surrender the internal agreement that prosperity is for other people. The silent, inherited agreement that says people from where you're from don't get to where you see yourself going. That says your family's ceiling is your life's ceiling. You didn't choose that agreement, but today it is recognized, and today it is returned. Surrender the fear of receiving and losing it all again, the specific fear of someone who once had something good and watched it vanish, the fear that built a defense mechanism inside, better not to have much so I don't suffer losing it. That fear locked the container before the ship even arrived. Today, that lock is released. Now I am speaking directly to you. I saw you open that banking app in the bathroom with the door locked. I was there, not as a distant observer taking notes, but as a witness who saw the numbers on the screen, felt the breath you took, and watched you walk back to that bedroom with the face the world expected. I saw that moment, not once, but every time it happened, and not once was it recorded as a failure. It was recorded as resistance, as someone who kept honoring the call when the physical world showed no reason why. I saw the inventory you do in the dark before sleep, with the ceiling as your witness. Every item on that list has my eyes on it. Every dream, every need, every promise you made to yourself about what you'd do when things changed. None of it went unnoticed. None of it was put on hold while heaven dealt with more important things. They are the map of what is being executed. I need you to know what those days represent in heaven's records. Every day you kept going without seeing movement wasn't a lost day. It was a day of proven managerial capacity. Every time you honored a commitment without having enough, I recorded it as proof that you can be trusted with what is coming. Every time you didn't abandon what was in your care, I confirmed that the decree with your name was placed on the right person. What is yours is already sealed. Bearer of the decree, cycle breaker, channel of restitution. Those are the names I use when I talk to heaven about you. And heaven knows the names I use. The ship has sailed. The manifest has your name. The port is being prepared right now with the 3 steps of the protocol you received today. And when that ship docks, you will be ready to receive without losing, to distribute without hoarding, and to advance without apologizing for being exactly where the decree already signed your name. Say it out loud now, with your hand still open. I am ready. What is mine is coming, not as a hope, as a finished fact, because it is. Type done in the comments. This is your public record that you received it. Heaven records what you confess in the light. Now think of one specific person, not a group, one person, with a name, with a face. That person you know is doing their nighttime inventory right now, not knowing the ship has already sailed. Someone who is standing on pure resistance but hasn't received the name of what they are carrying. Send this video to them now, with a simple message, just their name, and this is for you. Because the decree with their name is sealed too. They just need to know. If you want to stay on this path, the next video will show you how to identify what's blocking the door to your next level, even when you're doing everything right. It'll be here when you're ready. It is done. You aren't the same person you were when this message started.
You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part? You start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual, with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video.